Hi, I'm Meg.
And I'm David.
Welcome to The Average Vegans, a podcast to help you live an attainable vegan lifestyle. We're not the ripped influencer vegans you hear about in other podcasts. We're just some ordinary people living in the South, eating plants and loving animals.
And on today's episode, we're discussing getting involved in animal rights activism.
Ooh, sounds so daunting.
It is. That's it.
It doesn't
So that's
have
it,
to
guys.
be.
Your call to arms. Everyone just get out and start just like raging and going crazy and throwing fake blood on people. And
I was just going to say that. That's like the first thing I think of.
yeah,
I don't know
Racist
why.
murder,
This
whatever.
it pops in my head.
yeah. That's what pops in everyone's head because everyone's like, "Oh, I can't be in activism because I don't have time to like march or stand on the street corners and yell at people that are going to steakhouses and walk around, whatever." So people are like, "Oh, I can't do it." And that's not always what it is.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like something big. It doesn't giant movement or a giant protest or anything like that, which is also great. We're going to talk all about those. But it can be smaller ways that you can make a difference for animal rights, not just being vegan, but like, vegan related things. But there's a whole bunch of big and small ways that you can make a difference in animal rights. And we're going to talk about that today so you don't get all scared and feel like it's a daunting task to jump into animal activism. It's not as scary as you may think it might be.
Yeah, and you may actually find that some of the stuff you're doing already, or some stuff
Yes.
they're like, "Oh, I could do that," and you kind of just add to what you're already doing to really, help be a voice for the voiceless.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And if not vegans, then who, right? Like if we're not going to fight for animal rights beyond not eating animals, then who is? So
Right.
I feel like this is part of I forget which episode it was, but our unpopular opinions episode where I said that, it's kind of our duty to do something, anything
Right.
we can to fight for animal rights, besides, again, not just eating them.
Right.
Just a big step.
There's a lot of things you can do. So we got a pretty good list. I don't want to. We can haul around on it, but we wouldn't be at the 2-hour episode which we've done before. But the first one is joining a local animal rights activist group. Whether you join them directly, become a member, or you just kind of attend their events and support. And I know in Georgia, the biggest one in Georgia is at least local is GARP, which is the Georgia Animal Rights and Protection Group.
Love it. I see them a lot.
Yeah.
You could also volunteer and help out, like if they are flyering, or even if you want to create something. I'm sure they have some kind of spot where you could volunteer and help out there. But you could also learn a lot from joining a local activist group, like things that you may not know are going on even in your state. You could learn from just joining that group, let alone all the activities that you could be a part of.
Yeah, I'm just reaching out to them. Usually, they'll have events they're holding, or pamphlets you can leave out at like even going to restaurants or like stores and like have a little like a pamphlet. Some stores have like areas people can just advertise and put things up, and they'll have brochures or pamphlets you can put out for people to pick up and read if not being as upfront and going on a march or a protest or something like that is not really your bag.
Yeah, in your local animal rights activist group, it doesn't do just giant protests. They too are doing a lot of the smaller things we're going to talk about today. So joining those local groups is a really good step towards being an advocate for animal rights. And there's all you. Plus, you get to meet other vegans and animal lovers. I mean, you can make some friends.
Yeah.
Which is very difficult as adults.
maybe a few lovers.
Oh, if you're David.
But you can email us.
Weird face right now.
Wow.
Oh God, you kill me.
Hey, man, I'm working all day. Mine's going a little crazy, more than it usually is.
He's been chit chatting all day.
Meetings all day long.
So one of the activities you can do with your local animal rights activist group is join a protest. You could even help organize said protest, but you could just be a part of one too. And David has been a part of one.
Yeah, we the one that was actually, it was a march. We were part of. It was actually a kind of a parade. We were in there. We were handing out like little pamphlets and talking to people and kind of answering questions, and walking with signs, that sort of stuff. It wasn't anything. We weren't like yelling at people and going crazy. It was more just
Right.
being visible
And vocal.
and vocal, having the message out there and talking to people who are willing to talk reasonably, handing out information. It wasn't that bad. It was fine. Most people kind of like look at you funny and walk away. Some people want to talk and be combative, and you just don't pay any mind. Again, like my thing is always, I don't argue with people anymore. If you want
Right.
information, you're actually interested in wanting to learn, great. If not, just go somewhere else. I don't have, because you're not looking to actually get information. You're looking to kind of make yourself feel better with a fight. I'm not here to help anybody's ego just because they think they're smarter than me, which they are not.
I like the idea of like a march or like a little parade, as you put it, which is kind of sounds cute, but it's not for a cute reason. But I like that idea because, one, again, you're getting out there. You're also kind of like exposing the ideas to people that are just randomly there, like they may have never been exposed to the idea of animal rights and what is going on in your state or in your country. So I think that would be a fun way, in a way. Oh, so sad. It feels like there should be a fun way to do animal rights activism, right. But I feel like that might be like the only way where you're like out and about with people and like interacting. And I'm assuming those will pop up more and more as we get vaccinated and the world happens.
Yeah, and protests can get, if being a little more vocal in the face is your thing, protests are very much be outside of a animal testing lab, raising cane, in front of a fast food joint. People go like, oh, that looks bad on us, it's crazy. And the problem is, people I tongue-tied that all together to one weird sentence. A lot of people think that makes us look bad and it's a little crazy, but honestly, we do kind of need people to be more vocal than others. It's not my bag. It's something that I feel comfortable doing. But, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And you need, I think there are, there are right ways and wrong ways to do it. Just running into someone's business, screaming and yelling at them is not going to get the point across. But standing out front of a business, yelling at people, not yelling, but talking to people quite loudly about like what they're doing is wrong and why it's wrong.
Sharing information.
Right. But a little more vocal, a little more in the face can be beneficial. Kind of that actually will rattle some cages and get people to like listen and pay attention. I think there are some ways that you can protest that are more detrimental to the movement. But yeah, if you're being more vocal, staying out front of a fast food place and handing out pamphlets and showing video of like, here's how they raise their chickens. Isn't this terrible? Maybe you should eat here. Maybe you should have a veggie burger. If that's your bag. That's
in your local animal rights activism group, or they have these small protests quite frequently. I see them advertised in our vegan Atlanta group. I see them talk about, we're going to be in front of this store, or we'll lead into the next thing that we were going to talk about. They do letter writing campaigns or email campaigns to people that may be able to make some kind of changes when it comes to animal rights. So that's like another step that doesn't have to be as, like in your face, one-to-one, in-person kind of thing. So writing letters and emails, I should do this more. And I love this. I love doing this episode because it's going to push me, even as someone who has a vegan podcast, to do more for animal rights. So yay, go us.
Yeah, another. when I worked for an animal rights group, I worked for Mercy for Animals for a couple of years. I don't think it matters if I say who it is. Well, like 2.5, 3 years, and I headed up their web team. And one of the things that I created there that did amazingly was it was a site that people put their contact information, like their address, their physical address. This is for Canada. So put their put their postal code in, and then it would automatically pull in their representative.
Ooh.
For their province, I think is what they call them, the province.
Yeah.
So, and then you would basically check boxes and like which ones you want to send to, hit send, and it would automatically email like all the representatives. And Justin Trudeau got emails from us and stuff. And the thing is, the head of our Canadian organization, our Canadian area, whatever, she was getting phone calls from these people telling them, please stop. This is driving us crazy.
Yes.
And I think the legislation ended up passing. It was like one of the most successful like campaigns we had in Canada, and it was just a bombardment of emails. And people did all this Canadian assistant had to do was go in there, type in their basic, not their address,
Right.
just their postal code and their email address because it had to come from somewhere, and then hit a few buttons. We would send just a handful of emails out, and they would get bombarded. And it worked. It was actually successful.
There's got to be something like that for the U.S. as well, and that's a very, very effective way to get your opinions out there. Maybe make some kind of movements. Also, like to encourage your friends to also write letters and emails. That is something that you can easily do to advocate for animals. Just share that information on social and be like, just send a little note, send a little letter. I think that makes a big difference, and it doesn't have to just be like government officials or anything like that. The thought immediately popped into my head about like television shows that unnecessarily harm animals, which makes me think of episode number 8, when we talked about ways that veganism changes how you experience things. And I talked about how I love the show Ink Master, the tattoo show, but on one of their episodes, they used a dead pig carcass to tattoo on because the pig's skin is so similar to a human skin, which should freak you the F out, but
Right.
whatever. But like, it never occurred to me that I could, email them, tweet to them something, and just be like, that is such an unnecessary thing to put on television. Like, you don't need to do that. I'm sure there is some kind of alternative that you could have used that wasn't like a dead animal, and I should have. And now that I think of such things, that'll be my first reaction from now on, because even if they don't read it, I have to do something, because it just is just sick and it's unnecessary. It just doesn't have to happen.
Yeah, especially in the tattoo industry, is getting better because there's options you can use in that. But and yeah, when you said that, I was thinking of Fear Factor of like,
oh yes,
all the just messed up stuff they put on there. It's like, you can eat live worms. I'm like, I know it's a worm. People are like, it's just a worm, but yeah, it's still a worm. So
yes, ew, ew, ew.
Yeah, but so I call it Fear Factor because it's gross. I mean, we shouldn't be doing it. But going over to something that's live, not tattooing dead pigs. You can volunteer at really any of the there's farm sanctuary, the farm sanctuary or farmed sanctuaries, depending on you would put it. Humane societies, most major cities, even smaller areas, have humane societies. Really, any organization that is involved in rescuing, whether it be animals we have as pets or animals that usually would be put directly in harm's way.
Yeah, I want to do more of that as the world opens up again. I just looked into one of our local farm sanctuaries, Full Circle Farm Sanctuary. We've wanted to volunteer there together for quite a long. They are not currently, I don't think, taking volunteers as far as I could tell, but they are accepting donations. So that might be a possibility. They take like donations of just straight up cash, but they also take, they have like an Amazon gift, like cart or whatever, full of like cool stuff that you could buy for their sanctuary. And I think that's like a fun way to help in times when you can't physically volunteer and be there. But like, just imagine how nice it is to just go see the cute little animals that are in happy, healthy places, and like they don't have a care in the world. Just I may just cry the whole time, which would be ridiculous. Like, what's this lady doing, just crying next to the piggies?
Years and years and years ago, I volunteered briefly at there's another local one. It's no longer in service now. The young lady who ran it is no longer with us, and as such, they had to shut down the sanctuary.
Oh yes.
Yeah. But I can't remember the name of the sanctuary now, but it's because it's been so long. But I volunteered there, and we actually helped. We actually helped like dig holes and help build enclosures for.
Oh,
And she rescued animals that were like they were like they're non-traditional animals that couldn't be released back in the wild, like phoenix foxes, opossums. She had a blind opossum, a few other birds like that were injured or they were sick and they couldn't like be let go and they needed somewhere to stay. So she had like a big swatch of land, and she did that. So I helped there, and that was actually really fun. It was met new people. It was kind of cool.
right,
We had some
exactly.
veggie burgers and dug some holes. But it was nice, and we got to meet all the animals and got a little more, got a little closer because we were spending our time, so we got a little closer to the animals there, which was kind of cool.
It's a nice way to spend the day, but it also makes a big difference. You know, you are making a difference in the animals' lives, in the sanctuary's lives. You're just making their life a little bit easier.
Yeah,
Whether you volunteer in person or you buy some supplies that they desperately need, either way, you're making a difference. And that is like leading towards being an advocate for animal rights. So if you can help a little local farm sanctuary or humane society or anything like that, we encourage you to.
now
We are definitely going to look into donating and hopefully volunteering once they open that
once
up
you're able to.
again. I don't really want to clean up poop, but
That what
I
you
want to
gotta do,
cuddle.
man.
Fine, I'll clean up the poop if I can also cuddle.
There you go.
Like
That's a
after.
trade off. That's a trade off. Yeah, and,
That'd
and
be
a lot
reward.
of what they need in the wish list is actually relatively inexpensive too. So
It
if
is,
you have the means to
yes.
do so, it definitely is beneficial. Or you can also you can donate directly, and you can
Mm-hmm.
also like adopt like for like a recurring monthly fee. You can adopt one of the animals, and you get like a little thank you card with a picture and stuff in it too. So if you want to do that,
So
yeah,
cute. Love it, love it,
yeah,
love
yeah,
it.
love it, love it, love it.
And you can also, if they have any kind of annual fundraisers or events, you can participate in those. Or you can look for other fundraisers. There's all kinds of animal activism organizations that need money, or physical donations, like we just mentioned about local farm sanctuaries. They need cash a lot of the times. And if that's something you can do, that's a wonderful gift towards animal rights. It's not, how do you say this? You don't have to do it in person to make a difference. Like it really does make a difference by giving money. Like don't shortchange yourself and think that you're not doing enough if you're donating money. That is a big portion of this. Like these organizations can't run without your donations. So it's a big part. I don't want people to think that they're not doing enough if they're donating.
Yeah. I mean that's every year for Thanksgiving I do the adopted turkey.
We're going to do that this year
Yeah.
when we, as a podcast.
Yeah, I do that. And it's if you can't do that, you can always donate. But yeah, I donate a turkey. It's adorable. I did that.
So cute.
I did it last year. Did it before year before. I think the past 4 or 5 years I've done that. And this is actually probably the easiest thing to do that most people because most people don't have their screens. I am all over the map and blah, 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 mumbling my words today. So this is something probably the next thing is probably the easiest thing for people to do because your screen is always in front of your face.
Always.
That is, you're sharing videos or anything on your social platforms, and not always just the nice stuff. Sometimes you gotta, like, look, this is terrible and it's happening. You should stop supporting it.
Yes.
It's the more graphic stuff is maybe a little difficult to share, but for some people that was their entrance. They weren't plant based until they saw, how actual like the happy cow farm isn't so happy with their cows. How that works out.
Hmm.
Um,
I actually have a friend who, when we became friends on Facebook, I was startled because she shared the graphic videos quite frequently. And I was like, oh, okay, this is what we're into. All right. Um, and I always think like, well, I'm already vegan. I don't need to see those, but like I need to continue to see them and I need to share them more. So I've been very curious in her videos. And we talked one day and she said that like, I think it was her mom or her aunt, they weren't really interested in hearing about her vegan lifestyle, even though she has lived for like a decade. But when she started sharing videos on Facebook, it was so startling and that it made a literal difference to the point where this person is now vegetarian and working towards becoming vegan. Not because they heard how healthy she was or how her family loves being vegan. It was the videos that she shared, the very uncomfortable, the shocking videos that she shared that made this person go, oh, wait a minute. So like you never know what it's going to be. For me, it was David having delicious food and telling me how I could eat this way and not deprive myself and also not harm any animals. For some people, it is the shock of seeing the true torture and murder of animals. And you could make a big difference by a little share.
That shit sticks with you too. There's stuff that like I saw working that animal rights group that was like, oh, that's never coming out of my head.
God.
Sledgehammers and cows is all I'm gonna say. That's stuck. That is stuck. But I mean, if that makes you go like, nope, I'm out. You know, I don't know what.
Yeah, and if somebody can watch that video and not be out, then you know that that's not someone you should even bother. Like, don't even nothing is really gonna work there like that. You're a little shut off there.
Let them find their way.
You can share videos, but you could also just share information. So some of the most powerful information I have found to share with some of my friends who are very much meat eating people is the environmental impact of eating meat and animal agriculture. That has made people kind of open their eyes a little bit more than me saying, oh, eating meat is unhealthy. For some reason, talking about the environmental impact has made them more like stop and go, oh, wow, maybe I could go without meat for a few days a week, and that literally has made a difference. So it doesn't have to just be about, we're killing animals. It could be like, oh, we're killing the earth.
Right.
At the same time.
Even then, some people it's health, like understand like, well, it's, animal product consumption is leading cause of breast cancer, testicular cancer, colon cancer, Alzheimer's, erectile dysfunction. It is what it is,
and it's important sometimes.
It is true. So ovarian cancer, all kinds of that. So it's when you share like, okay, well, all of this contributes to either the diabetes, seriously, the health problem someone's already having, or they could be having, or that someone they know is having, they don't want to go through. It can kind of, make you go, ooh. I mean, I gave up red meat and little piggies and stuff like that. I basically went to fish and chickens. I ate for a while because I was like, ooh, that's not good for you. I'm not eating that because my family members are having problems. And then I got smarter and went all the way. But
sharing the different aspects, like the different reasons why we are all vegan or vegetarian, whatever you are doing, but you should be vegan. Sharing why,
you'll get there.
The different reasons why, I think makes a big difference for people. And again, like we're saying, it's not just what happens to animals, it's what happens to the planet, what happens to you. All of that information, all of those videos can be very powerful to different people for different reasons. So encourage you to continue to share.
Very much so.
Yes.
Now, we talked about like volunteering and and joining groups, but you can also either intern with some groups, especially some of the larger groups. You can also work with them. Actually, work there as an employee.
Like David did.
Yes, I mean, for all the issues that I had there, which wasn't an issue with animal rights groups, more an issue with that organization. The problems that I had no problem with the work we were doing. That's one reason I kind of stayed as long as I did, or like put up with what I put up with. And again, it was mostly personal relationship issues, not the organization itself. The work we were doing was actually extremely powerful and extremely effective. So yeah, if you're looking to get into like a nonprofit sector, want to make an impact while also be able to pay some bills, I always suggest looking into animal rights groups. Your bigger ones are Mercy for Animals, PETA. If you're in line with them, we have my own issues with PETA. But
yes,
They do some advocate work, which is decent. So, but Mercy for Animals, PETA, Humane League is a really good one. I've had friends who worked there and actually really, really liked it there. Those are some of your they're really big ones, and also sometimes farm sanctuaries in those areas are actually hiring either part-time workers, or if you have the skill set they need, working on usually putting up fences and working actually do maintenance work.
Right.
They can usually use new employees to help out there. And the assumption is always like, well, if it's a nonprofit, then they can't pay me very much. Nonprofits pay competitive wages. They're going to have lower staff typically, because most of the money goes to fund the advocacy. So you may find you're wearing a couple extra hats, or you're very busy, but you're going to be doing good work, and you're going to be making a direct impact. Yeah.
Imagine that feels really good at the end of the day, no matter what your day's like.
Yeah.
You can say I made a big difference. What I do for a living, I probably don't make a huge difference in people's lives. So I think that's a great thing to intern or seek out a job. We've talked about volunteering, but yes, doing an actual intern or a job for an animal rights group of any kind or organization would be a great idea.
Yeah.
You could also, and we're not trying to get some kind of competition here.
I think we should skip this.
I don't know. Maybe we should skip this one. No. But you could start a podcast. You could.
A smaller one than ours, though. Keep it low key.
Maybe do a different spin on things.
There you go. They're not average humans.
Please be above. But you could start a podcast, and it could be about any aspect of animal rights activism. So you could talk about the environmental part of things. You could talk about ability and how animal agriculture is horrible for the planet. You could talk about that kind of stuff. Again, you could talk about the health benefits, have doctors on, interview them, that kind of thing. You could talk about food, like we do more often than not.
It's just an excuse. The podcast is an excuse to eat food, is all it is.
It really is. But making a vegan podcast or an animal rights podcast will make a difference, because again, you are opening the minds of people that may never have heard about this. Maybe you just popped up on their recommendations page, or they saw you on social media or something. You can really make a huge difference in people's lives by just giving them a little bit of information that they haven't been exposed to through a little podcast. It's not as hard as it sounds. It's not as scary as it sounds. Believe me, I almost threw up the first time we talked to these mics, but now it's second nature. So I really encourage people, because, having a podcast is really fun. And if you have a co-host that you love, who's like your best friend, it's even better.
Yeah, it's and for that you end up reaching. That's the word. Reaching people in multiple countries, multiple states, so your range is a lot farther. So which is nice.
Yes. It's always shocking when I see a new country on our list of stats. Yeah, it's blows me away.
Yeah. It is kind of wild. Because the next one is one of my favorites. That's bringing food and treats to work or to gatherings. Maybe it's friends, family, or work, something like that. Just bring some tasty food. And
David's
that has
trick.
Right, and that it's worked. It's straight up has worked. I've had people like you just make complete switches. I've had people like go almost completely I've had people go vegetarian. It was do meatless. Because that thing about it is that when you bring something, especially something that's normally not plant based, you have plant based option, and people are like, this is really good. What is this? Like, oh, that's like cashew cheese. Like, what the shit? And they realize it's good and it's something that's better for them. I'm like, oh, I don't have to have a stomachache after. It's like, yeah, because you're lactose intolerant, and now there's an option for you. So then they go home and they tell their significant others, or they live alone, they're single, they're saying, and they go to the store and buy themselves. They get these options themselves. Now they know it's there. It opens up a world to them. So,
which also could lead to conversations where you share that information that we just talked about. That information you would share on social, if you can get them to eat some of your yummy little lunches or treats or whatever, that opens up to a conversation that, is necessary to make change. So it could lead to a huge, huge change in someone's life. Not only should you bring treats and food, but you can suggest vegan alternatives to your family and friends. So my most common is butter, mayonnaise, those things, sour cream. Those vegan alternatives are so spot on that if you don't like them, you're insane. I don't understand you. I don't get it. You're weird. Because my family, like my daughter, my youngest daughter, is not she's kind of picky about a lot of things, but she's like, this butter's great. I don't need real butter ever again. We haven't had milk in our house in like a million years. We have cashew milk. So like just like giving a little alternatives, you're at a family function. You're like, I should try this butter. Here, I brought you some. Just try it. See if you like it. I wish they didn't have the word vegan so like giant on the box or on the container. Like I want to just like snake it. Ooh. Wonder if I could put it in a different container and trick them. Oh, I'm so mean. But suggesting some vegan alternative things that your friends or family are eating is also another easy little way that you can advocate for animals and push people towards living a little bit more of a vegan lifestyle.
Oh yeah, that's I just keep thinking of you sneaking stuff.
Listen. Sneaky.
But one thing I've always wanted to do, I haven't had a chance to do because there's certain family members who wouldn't be up for it. But I think some of my family members would, is having like a little dinner party for some friends,
Yes.
some family or friends. I knew someone who did that. They actually like had a whole like spread set, like, y'all don't bring anything, it's fine, we'll handle the food. And some people came over and they're eating whatever, and then like everybody's getting into it, and they walk over and just kind of grab like a spoonful, like, what are you doing? You're vegan? It's like, yeah, everything here is. And they're all,
You just didn't know it.
It was like, I had 2 plates. What the? So doing that, I mean, first off, I mean, very few people would turn down a free meal.
Very true. That is legit.
You know, so you have,
or you could have everybody bring a dish. So I've done that, right?
Yeah.
For we have which we haven't had in well over a year now, but I run a true crime book club, as if I don't have enough to do with my life. And whenever we would have our meetups and talk about our books, people would bring food. Now they know they're coming to a vegan household. So majority of the time they would bring vegan food, which is so considerate of my wonderful friends. But it also like exposes other people to vegan food that don't try it. You know,
Right.
Like we know Rosie loves vegan food. She's the best and she brings it and it's delicious. But some of my friends have never had, well, they think they've never had a vegan recipe, but they try this food and they love it. So like having a little gathering where you have vegan options that everyone can try can make a difference also, because again, you're just exposing them to delicious food. Duh.
yeah, most people can't believe you've done something that's like, that's vegan. They've, you know, one thing I want to do is like, I want to make for my brothers is like some jalapeno poppers, because that's like the whole thing, like do the cream cheese and the put some vegan bacon, vegan cream cheese, grill them up, like, man. So doing that I think would be kind of cool. So I'm thinking about like some point when we can this year, like having like at least like my brothers over and saying like, I'll do the burgers, I'll do all the fun stuff, y'all just come hang and have a couple drinks, whatever.
Oh, love it.
Yeah, they're more inclined. They're like, is it food? All right, I'm down. Because they're like most like me. They'll eat most of anything. Of course, mine has to come from the ground, but they don't care. Like me, and my brother Taylor, he would tell you, he's like, he's the biggest of all of us, and he's like, as long as it tastes good, I don't care. Right.
Love him. I love that.
Right, Taylor's cool. So
I love this next suggestion. Okay, I want to do this.
Okay.
We have to.
Okay.
Have a vegan documentary watch party. Great idea.
Yeah.
Because you can combine the dinner and the watch party. Come on.
But y'all can also have snacks like candy and popcorn and, you know.
Oh, I'm interrupting because
My fingers like up. You were like,
yes. Sorry, just got very excited. If you have a Costco near you and you need to go, because there is a vegan popcorn that is birthday cake flavored. So it is sweet popcorn. All I saw was the word vegan and I ran. Like I was like, woo, chugging, going.
Knocking over old ladies,
bag.
throwing elbows.
So excited. It was a big giant bag because again, it's Costco. Got it home, and my daughter loves birthday cake stuff. She goes, and it's vegan, yes. And I was like, I love when you do that. Cheering for vegan stuff. This makes me so happy. That bag was gone way too quick. My booty got bigger because of that bag, but I don't care because it was delicious. So I'm interrupting with a recommendation for your next movie night. Go to Costco, birthday cake popcorn.
Okay, I was trying to see what it was. I
can't remember the brand.
Yeah, there's a few. There's a few brands. I thought it was maybe like Skinny Pop, or there's one called like Bomb Pop. No,
it's not. It's a brand I've never seen before, and it was to die for.
Yeah, because it sounds good.
I don't even like popcorn that much because it gets all up in my teeth and stuff, and I hate that. But whew, that sounds good. But a vegan documentary watch party? Oh my God, you have so many to choose from.
Right.
And you can listen to one of our episodes. I'm going to go quickly look. I don't know. Episode 16, where we talk about movies, documentaries, and books that you could watch at your vegan documentary.
There you go.
Then it could lead some of your friends to live a more vegan lifestyle.
Yeah. There you go. I probably wouldn't suggest like Earthlings for that though.
No.
It might be a little too heavy-handed. All right, guys, you got your popcorn and your Sour Patch Kids, which are vegan.
And you're deaf.
Yeah, and you're like, you ready? Okay, hit play.
God.
Oh my God! People just crying, like enjoying your birthday popcorn. It's so good. Probably like a what the hell,
yes, or even Seaspiracy, which we just talked about in episode 28. So you could watch that one and talk about our ocean destruction, which is an awesome, not an exciting, like fun documentary.
Except for the last 20 minutes.
It's very informative. Oh God, yeah.
Look away for like 5 minutes. Last 20 minutes, 5 minutes, you gotta go, nope. I couldn't do it. I mean, it's probably if you're a fish eater, it's probably good for you to see what insanity happens.
Yes.
But I was like, nope. I was like, I know this already. Nope.
But watching a documentary with your friends that aren't all vegans, obviously. Throw in some people that are a little on the fence or whatever, and you can make a big difference in people's lives. And if you can turn more people vegan, you are saving more animals. You are an animal activist. So don't think that you're not by, again, you don't have to go to a giant protest every time to make a big difference in people's lives.
And in some cases, doing these type of events will, you may not get somebody to go full on plant-based, but you may get them to go vegetarian, or you may get them to go, cut out, like I said, I'm not eating, red meat or like pork or anything anymore, which I hate saying word pork. It takes away the humanity or the animal from what they are. But, I'm not eating that anymore. Which is still eating meat, but, it's still reducing suffering, which is what, we aim for initially and overall completely making that conversion.
And you can get them to question things.
Yeah.
Because that's what your goal is, right? You're need them just to question. Everyone in this world is questioning everything all the time. So it's so odd. Yeah. It's so odd that so many people that fight against, government control and things like that don't realize that by eating meat, you're literally controlled.
Well, not only that, is the meat industry is so heavily subsidized.
Just.
I mean, if you're someone who's upset about like government spending and like stuff like that, and like the meat industry is massively subsidized by our tax dollars.
That's crazy.
And by contributing to that through your dollars, you're contributing to their further subsidies into that suffering. So, just giving a reason for it to be.
Our last recommendation is the easiest one. You can sign petitions, and it's very much kind of like the letter and email writing that we talked about. It can be done very quickly too. They have really made my voice is going strange right now. They have made electronically signing petitions like a click, here's my signature, I'm done.
Change.org.
Yeah. It's nice.
Yep.
It's nice. So literally search, animal rights petitions, read them carefully, make that you do your own research on what you are signing before you sign. Don't just go willy-nilly.
Yeah.
Everything. Just look things over. You could be being tricked. You have no idea. over, but signing a petition, those do make differences. So we encourage you, find as many as you can, sign as many as you can.
Yeah, most large organizations, again, like Mercy for Animals, I say them a lot because I worked with there, so I know them well enough. And Humane League are always creating petitions, and you can find them on change.org is what almost everyone uses, especially in nonprofits. So you can usually find petitions on there, and you can just click, and sign.
Yeah.
Make it so much easier. And they're using that.
Share.
Yes, and share. Yeah, because usually after you sign, you have a share option. So doing that also can help get people to sign it as well. It's always surprising people who aren't vegan or plant based who sign these petitions.
Mm-hmm.
But signing them is helpful, and we do. Like again, I was part of a team where we actually had to go and like export the signatures and verify and send them over to the legal team to verify, and then they actually were sent to the company or they were sent to whatever. And we actually had on multiple occasions where fast food organizations or slaughterhouses, stuff like that, would actually change their practices because of the petition. Because they're like, wow, this is going to affect my money talks, bullshit walks. If they think it's going to affect,
right.
They think it'll affect their bottom line from the people who signed it, they're going to make an adjustment. So we actually have successes from petitions, surprisingly enough.
And there can be like state petitions, and there can be, nationwide ones, for like major companies down to little ones. So we encourage you just to do a little Google search. So we've talked about a bunch of little things. We've talked about a bunch of bigger things that you can do to be an animal advocate, working with animal rights activists and organizations. There are a ton of things that you can do. Some things we didn't even list. So of course, like always, we want to hear your recommendations and how can people get involved in animal rights activism, because we all need to. Again, if vegans don't, then who does? So we want to hear from you guys. You can contact us on Instagram at The Average Vegans, or Facebook at The Average Vegans, or email us at theaveragevegans@gmail.com. You can find our podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Pocket Casts, or anywhere else you get your podcast fix. Make sure to leave us a review, pretty please. I beg every time to love some more. Recommend us to your friends, family, coworkers, strangers, the delivery driver. Show notes, links, and more can be found at theaveragevegans.com. And again, we'd love to hear from you, your vegan story, your favorite vegan treats, how you get involved in animal rights, and all the other stuff, I guess. Well, that's about it for this week.
All right. Well, until next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.